Welcome back, Nerd Squad. It's Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in the US. Yay! With the new issue of Marvel's Voices just announced that is expected to arrive in August, highlighting some of our favorite Asian supers from the Marvel Universe, and DC's DC Festival of Heroes, the Asian Celebration issue, already out now, also doing just that. But for DC's universe, we thought it might be a good time to also shine a spotlight on some of these heroes so you could get to know them, their origins, stories, and awesome powers a little bit better. Time to focus once more on how far we have come in terms of diversity in comic book history, and look ahead to an even brighter and more inclusive future where everyone can see themselves as a superhero. Join me as we celebrate with this updated top 10 list coming at you from 2021 of our favorite Asian superheroes. And Asia is a big place, which means we have lots of amazing heroes to talk about. So let's get counting. Number 10, Sunfire. I'm going to apologize because you know my mind went to all my favorite Asian superheroes who also happen to be mutants with this list, because that's where my mind always goes. So if you notice more than a few mutants on this list, that is why. I am psyched already though to do a part 2 to this one, oh my goodness. So do not worry, I will have even more heroes for you and likely more Asian mutant heroes as well. Shiro Yoshida is Sunfire, one such superhero mutant who hails from Japan. He initially was raised to hate the West, but over time began to reassess his views and would even make allies and friends over in America, choosing at times to help that nation as well, despite being acknowledged as the protector of Japan. Believe it or not, a confrontation with Iron Man, yes, Iron Man, contributed to helping change Sunfire's views on America. Iron Man! Number 9, Dust. If you know about my love of Marvel mutants, then you may have guessed by this point that one of my favorites is Dust. I like to feature her on lists whenever I can, and this is another great opportunity where I can let her shine. Dust is Soraya Kadir from Afghanistan and was first introduced in 2001's new X-Men series in issue 133. She was created by Grant Morrison and Ethan Van Sciver. Soraya was originally rescued by Phantom X and Wolverine and taken to the Indian branch of X Corporation located in Mumbai. She often is kind of presented as being somewhat shy and hesitant to trust others, likely because of her past. Initially, she hid from the X-Men using her mutant powers to turn herself into sand, a power that I think is amazingly OP. Eventually, she would be convinced by Jean Grey, aka the Phoenix, to reveal herself and would end up enrolled in the Savior Institute. Number 8, Silk. Cindy Moon is Silk. She was actually Peter Parker's classmate who was bitten by the same exact spider as them, giving them a strange and unspoken connection to one another, and gave her a series of spider-like powers similar to but different than Spider-Man's. Cindy spent most of her life locked up in a bunker after Ezekiel Sims, her mentor, sensed that Morlun and the Inheritors were on the loose and hunting folks like Cindy, who as spider folk were also considered to be tasty spider totems. Tasty because the Inheritors, energy vampires, enjoyed feeding on that specific brand of life energy. Cindy would later be freed from the bunker by Peter, who would inform her that she had nothing to fear as Morlun had already been defeated. Twice, actually. And friends, if you are loving this list as much as I am loving delivering it to ya, please be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up and commenting down below. Really helps out. And I love seeing love in the comments. Makes me happy. Number 7, Brawn. Amadeus Cho is one of the most brilliant minds in all of Marvel. When he was just 15, he was already regarded as the 7th smartest man in the world. Amadeus Cho would go on to befriend Bruce Banner, the Hulk, and eventually become the Hulk himself. Attempting to help Bruce, who was overcharged with radiation at the time, Amadeus transferred some of that radiation to himself and became a much more in-control version of the Hulk, getting his own series, Totally Awesome Hulk. Due to the fact that Amadeus didn't have mental health or anger issues like Bruce, he was a much more calm, level-headed, and smarter Hulk. At least, he was initially. The more Amadeus pushed himself while in his Hulk form, the more he lost control of his emotions, and eventually, he had to confront his own darkness that actually resided within him. Amadeus currently operates under the superhero name of Brawn. Number 6, Invincible. I am so happy that we get to include Invincible here. Yay! While in the comics, Mark Grayson, aka Invincible's heritage and ethnicity is left fairly ambiguous, in the animated series, the character was confirmed to be half Asian American, half Viltrumite. His mother, Debbie Grayson, is portrayed as being Asian American. Mark is one of the strongest characters in the Invincible universe, and of course the main character of the comic series and the animated series inspired by it. His powers and levels of strength are comparable to DC's Superman. In the animated series, he is voiced by Steven Yeun. Number 5. Jubilee. Another one of my all-time favorite characters, who also happens to be a mutant. What can I say? I love mutants. Jubilee made her first appearance in Uncanny X-Men issue 244 in 1989, and to this day, she still sports that awesome, iconic yellow trench coat. I love it. Jubilation Lee was born to a wealthy family who immigrated to America from Hong Kong. However, one night, her parents mysteriously died in a car crash, leaving Jubilee all alone. Without any other family to turn to, she was sent to an orphanage, but quickly ran away and decided to lay low in a shopping mall instead. The security caught on to her though, but fortunately for Jubilee, she was rescued by the X-Men. She followed the members of the team who saved her back to their current home base, and, well, the rest is history. In modern day comics, Jubilee was currently one of the main characters in the newest Excalibur series, and also now has a son that often joins her on her adventures throughout her life, Shogo, who while in Otherworld actually transforms into a dragon. True story. Number 4. Superman. The new Superman. Kong Kenan is the Superman of China, also referred to as the new Superman, based on the title of his most recent series, which ran from 2016 to 2018. Kong Kenan was created by Jean Lun Yang and Victor Bogdanovich. Kenan seemingly lost his mother when he was young after she died in a plane crash. He'd later learned that both of his parents were part of the Freedom Fighters of China, a group whose main ideals were that of truth, justice, and democracy. Initially, Kenan was very self-centered and only thought of himself, even going so far as to harass and blame the son of the man who owned the plane his mother had died on. One night, when he was mistreating this other kid, they became a target of Blue Condor, a supervillain. And surprisingly, Kenan instinctively fought back. It was because of this display of bravery that he was recruited for the Ministry of Self-Reliance's Superman of China project, where he would ultimately be given his powers, after being imbued with energy taken from a dead Kryptonian. Kenan would go on to become a hero and would end up on the Justice League of China team. I also hear this series is really good, so you should check it out. Number 3. Shang-Chi. One hero that will obviously be taking off once his film releases later this year in 2021 is Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi originally had some pretty problematic aspects to his depiction. His coloring was very yellow when he was originally introduced in 1973 in Special Marvel Edition issue 15. While the character has always, in my mind, been very compelling, there were definitely some racist undertones involved in his original appearance and origin story. Fortunately, most of those have been dealt with, like his father in the comics, Fu Manchu, later known as Zhang Zhu, who is now deceased and has been dead since 2011. Shang-Chi is a master martial artist, and although he doesn't have any specific superpowers, his skills as a fighter can sometimes make it seem like he does, granting him a sort of chi sense and complete control over his nervous system, allowing him to numb himself to pain when needed. Shang-Chi is not only skilled in terms of brawn, but brains as well, being a learned student of philosophy. And I feel like he can be a quite wise character at times, which I think is awesome. I like when people aren't just fighters and there's like some other aspects to their characters that you're like, oh, but that's also like super heroic and super cool too. Super useful. Number 2, Miss Marvel. Kamala Khan is Miss Marvel, a superhero who is obsessed with superheroes, proven by the fact that she even writes her own Avengers fanfics. She's not only a hero that other Muslim Pakistani Americans can see themselves as, but that we can all kind of see ourselves as, considering most of us are fans who would jump at the idea of becoming a superhero. Kamala got her powers after being exposed to the Terrigen Mists, undergoing Terrigenesis. She was given morphing powers which allow her to stretch and alter the size of her body, even specifically focusing on certain parts, such as making her fists bigger to pack a larger punch. Boom. Miss Marvel is a fan favorite, and seriously, I cannot wait for her show! Oh my goodness. If you are a Miss Marvel fan and you haven't played the Marvel's Avengers game, by the way, you need to fix that. The story for Kamala is so good, and she's so much fun to play as, I just gotta say. This isn't sponsored by Marvel's Avengers, I'm just really liking it. Number 1, Batgirl. Another hero who had a bit of a problematic start in terms of stereotypes and tropes was Cassandra Cain. Cassandra Cain's tragic backstory tells of how she was born simply to be turned into a weapon by her father, David Cain, after being abandoned by her mother, Lady Shiva, who made a deal with David to basically bear his child and then give up the child to him to be raised. Cassandra was taught to communicate only through physical expression, not being permitted to learn verbal communication or to speak. This is an important part of her backstory, but it also means that as a character, she fits into the silent Asian trope, when Asian characters are often bereft of a voice or dialogue to enhance the mystery or perhaps tranquility of their character. What's even stranger? Well, you may have not even noticed how common this trope is, or how it still seems to show up even today, sometimes in the most unexpected places. Look at the ghostly character of Ben in Netflix's adaptation of The Umbrella Academy, or the female Kimiko in The Boys comics and Amazon Prime live-action series. However, Cassandra Cain has also had a really cool story recently told about her that allows us to experience more depth in terms of her silence and her social anxiety around verbal communication. I highly recommend you check it out. It's actually the first story featured in the DC Festival of Heroes, the Asian Celebration issue, titled Sounds. The story was written by Mariko Tamaki, with art by Marcus To and colors by Sebastian Chang. You should just check out the whole thing. In general, there's lots of cool stories, and there's some really amazing art in there, friends. Who are some of your favorite Asian superheroes? Do you want to see a part 2 to this list? You know I have so many more heroes that I want to share with you. Which heroes do you wish got more time in the spotlight? Let us know in the comments below. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I am your host, Amanda McKnight. Thank you so much for watching, and till next time, you stay informed and stay nerdy, YouTube.